Okay, so first of all, Shannon, I'm obsessed with you. Second of all, one thing I wanted to ask you was within your friend group, has there ever been drama? And have you ever come to the conclusion that there's maybe someone in that friend group that you don't want to associate with as much, but it's so hard to disassociate because everyone's so intermingled within the friend group? And how would you recommend going about that? Or do you just bite the bullet and deal with the person who's not that great and deal with it?
Okay, so I have actually a very long-winded answer for this. Sorry, who, me? Long-winded? Never. I have two stories. One is a friend that was very, very intermingled. So it was my first roommate when I moved to Nashville, actually. Um, just overall bad experience. So I loved her. She was awesome to this day. I will defend how funny she is, how just much fun I had with her. Like I could name, and here's the thing about friends. You become friends with them for a reason. No one's out here just befriending shitty people, right? They bring you in with something that you love, right? So to this day, I will never knock or discredit how much I loved her. And really, truthfully, I could still find reasons I loved her, I'm sure. And you know, this is 7 years ago. So let's just remember that. I'm sure she doesn't, I am sure she doesn't listen to the fucking podcast, but all I'm saying is, yeah, this was bad because I met all of my long standing friends who I'm still best friends with in Nashville through her. She loved toxic crate. Red flag. A girl that says, you wouldn't have any of these friends if it wasn't for me. The other friend I'm going to talk about that used to be friends with me, that was one of the first things she said, because listen, everything is a learning experience, right? I'm going to put my wine down. Hold on. Everything is a learning experience. So actually this friend, my old roommate 7 years ago, when I first moved to Nashville, she was very helpful for a recent situation I had about a year ago with a friend, because I was like, red flag, red flag, red flag, because I remembered these things. So just try, when you're doing all this stuff, like you just said, like, should I bite the bullet? Yes, because you will learn from it and you will grow from it. And again, cliche, dumb, whatever. But like hearing these things, it sucks. It's like being cheated on, right? Your friends could tell you you were cheated on. Fuck him. Don't go back to him. This girl, you're going to go back to someone over. This is a different story for a different time. But I'm saying, like, sometimes in life, you cannot do it until you learn the hard way and do it yourself. So sometimes friends, situations that be like this. So we had all the same friends. Let's say, I'm still best friends with like 4 of the people I met through her. Mary Carl is one of them. My friend Dugan's one of them. Like I have very core group of friends through this person. And in the beginning, she was wonderful, and then awful. I don't need to go into the specifics, just a downright terrible person to me, okay? Cruel is a good word to put it, just cruel. And my friends saw it, right? And I was the youngest one in the group. I still am. Back to the LA girls. Like I've never felt old in my life in Nashville. I've always been the youngest one. I've always felt good about my age, whatever. I was the youngest one there. So I totally understand that I'm easy to pick on. Bitch, my personality is easy to pick on, but I also can take it. I'm not someone that's sensitive. I'm not someone that gets overly upset, whatever. But she was just downright mean and horrible to me. And so my friends saw it. These other people saw it. And they were like, yeah, that's really weird. Like, we don't know why she acts like that towards you. And then a couple of my friends called me and were like, hey, are you okay? Like one time I remember specifically, we were out and she was just so mean to me in public. She was just brutal. And they were like, are you good? Like, we saw how she was talking to you and what she was saying. Like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Because I was too afraid to ruffle the feathers. Because like you said, we're also intertwined. Like, what am I going to do? Stop being friends with her? And then I'm not coming to the parties. Like, they're not going to tell her not to go. Like, it's just all so weird. You feel so uncomfortable. So here's my advice. I know it's not great. It had gotten on too far, because here's the thing. I don't fault my other friends for still remaining friends with her, because they are grown-ass adult women who are like, we see how she treats you and it's not fucking cool. And we understand that you don't want to be around her. We understand that, we stopped living with each other. We understand all of these things, but like, she's not done anything to us and she's a good person to us. So we do have to still be friends with her. And I was like, I get it. I would never ask you guys not to be, right? So I still came to events, still came to stuff. We were very cordial with each other. It was what it was. It is what it is. It was what it was. All those euphemisms. And it was slightly awkward, but we still were like, hey, how are you? Good. How are you? Good. We just didn't live together anymore. We didn't like converse in that like depth anymore. Guess fucking what? And I can guarantee this will probably happen for you too. Eventually, She did the exact, once she didn't have me anymore, once I removed myself as the punching bag, she did the exact same thing to the other ones, right? And then they saw it. And then luckily, not for me, but for them, they were like, whoa, 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 wait a second. This is what you did to Shannon. Now you're doing it. Now you're doing it to us. No, 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 no. And it was so much, lucky them, like I said, quick, cut off. I mean, no one, everyone's like, we're not dealing with this. You're not a good person. We don't like this. No. She literally is not friends with any of us anymore. None of us are friends with her. So, it sucks because that just takes time. But at the end of the day, like, sometimes it's brutal and that's how life works, but people show their true colors. You remove yourself from the situation, you take yourself out of the equation, she's got to find someone else to punch, So she will, and then your other friends will be like, damn, they'll see her for what she is if you take yourself out of the equation. Because right now you just seem biased. You just seem like, we don't get along. And everyone's like, well, y'all don't get along. It is what it is. Wait until they feel that way. And then all of a sudden they'll be like, and 1 + 1 = 2. Wait. You did this to her too. We're not doing this. I don't know if that's the advice you wanted, but that's my personal experience with it from a friend that's very intertwined in the friend group. Now let's talk about a friend that's not very intertwined into a friend group, okay? I had a friend about a year ago who, for all intents and purposes, was really just kind of friends with me. My other friends were certainly nicer and kinder, but they didn't really fuck with her. They didn't tell me that until the end, really, but because they're also grown-ass adult women who aren't going to be like, we don't like her. Like, she's not good for you. They were like, Shannon looks happy. They're having a fun time. But it was like the second I expressed, like, I don't know if she's nice or this keeps happening. She's like doing this when we're out and doing this behind my back. They're like, okay, bitch, we've been meaning to say something. And I'm like, whoa. And then you take your friendships that you've had for 6-7 years and you're like, they are not being mean girls. They are looking out for me. And then you're like, why didn't you tell me sooner? And then they're like, well, Shannon, what we're going to do? You're a grown-ass adult woman who, if you like someone, you like someone. Like, it's just because she's not our cup of tea doesn't, we're not going to interfere. And I get that because that's how I would be too. So for my advice on that is what I did in that situation. I got to a point where this person had done so many things that I was just like, what? That I sent her a text message, bullet pointed, all the things, reasons, said, and I quote, I cannot associate myself with someone that does these things, XYZ, XYZ. She wrote back, I've got a lot of issues with you too. I could tell you the bullet points. Sure. I'm sure. And yeah, I decided that was not a friendship I wanted to work on. I didn't want to grab coffee or tea to talk about it, to try to make up. I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to disassociate myself from that person. It was a bit easier because no one else in my life really, there are for sure awkward moments, but luckily for me, like there wasn't that many. I don't really hang out in the same crowd. I mean, I didn't have to like see her out very often. And when I did, we're both adults, we're cordial, it's fine. But I nipped that one in the fucking bud, didn't look back twice. My life has been less dramatic and more happy because of it. And you know what? Hers has probably been too. I am sure she would go on to say, I'm better because of not having her. Sure. All of it, sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not just saying that. I'm sure we were toxic people together, okay? I will take responsibility for whatever parts of me she didn't like too, because I can't imagine she liked me that much for the things that she did to me. So sure, I brought out a side of her and she brought out a side of me. Let's call it even fucking Steven, right? At the end of the day, we are not friends anymore and that is fine. But in that scenario, if you're not intertwined with someone like that, even if it's just a couple people, like I remember mine was like a couple people, like my ex-boyfriend and like a couple people, cut it. And those people in your life will understand. Like I am still friends with people who are very good friends with her, very, very good friends with her. And it's fine. Cause like I said, she's got a lot of great qualities. There was just some tumultuous shit that we were oil and water, her and I. So, it's fine. Cut those off quick because there's really nothing to lose other than finding peacefulness and happiness. And again, I'm sure she'd say the same thing about me. So it is what it is. I'm exhausted. See? So I'm not friends with these people anymore.